come I do not have an intro, but I have finally have gotten myself to build a monkey house. Yes, I did it. Me, the person that admittedly does not like monkeys. I just knew that for our old-timey zoo, like this really cruel, awful, concrete desert of a monkey house was just a must. It was what monkey houses were like. It's cages, it's a lot. We had to do it. It is part of an old zoo. So, we did. This is definitely one of those builds where I'm right off the bat, like, I'm not happy with it. I am pretty frustrated with it, to be honest. This was the first thing that I tried to do when I was back from my involuntary break from this channel. And, it just... it doesn't work right. Maybe I had a lot of expectations for it because, like I said, it's one of those things where I'm like, it's part of it. I have to do this. It has to be good. And it just wasn't. So there's still a lot that we have to do. This is part 1, as you can see from the title. So the entire interior will be its own video, and then potentially I will still fix up some of the outside. So there will not be a tour in this video, which comes in kind of handy for me as well, because I'm in a bit of a time struggle right now. So I might also have to cut this voiceover short. The video is already a day late because, let's be honest, I was so unhappy with this that I couldn't even get it to a point where I was comfortable posting it. So now I would say the main structure of this build stands. The interior, not there, and it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere now. There's just some paths and I don't know, there's no detail to it, there's no depth to it. I'm really not happy with it. But I don't know. That's part of playing this game as well, you know, like not enjoying it that much always what you build. And it's also a trust the process kind of thing, and I'm having a hard time trusting the process, but I do trust it. So I think I can still get it to a point where I will be happy with it. And even right now, you can see me sort of struggle around with the size of the house and like what I actually wanted to include. There's a lot of inspiration pictures that I have for this. As always, with the old-timey zoo, it's the only one where I'm really looking at inspiration pictures. Usually I come up with things in my head kind of person, but for this I actually do look at inspiration pictures. So yeah, they will be like sprinkled about within this video, and what you see me do right now is try to get the sizing right, which admittedly I don't think it is super right. I think that the gorillas have so much space. They would have never had that much space back in the day, so you know, it's already at that point not that realistic. Unfortunately, you know, I would like to give them more space, and yeah, but it's not really realistic to have that much space. And now we have these like outdoor cages, which are definitely inspired by a lot of the pictures that I have seen online about old zoos, not just specifically monkey cages, but a lot of them were monkeys. And the gorilla one is actually very much inspired by one picture, but we will get to that hopefully when it's actually there. If not, then I'll just pop a random picture on there and you figure out the rest. But these cages I actually built twice. The first one I built, I did use bigger, like more thick pieces, and it did look like a cage, but I don't know. It felt like a cartoony little bird cage and not so much like a realistic monkey cage. And I think the second go around is way better. I think this actually looks like a cage, and it's a lot more detailed. The cages are actually the one thing that I'm fairly happy with, and you see the old ones kind of in the back when I turn the camera there in the footage, and I think they were too clunky, and the new ones are just way better. And they're kind of tall. I did see some pictures where the monkeys were kind of barely having enough room, so it just like the keeper would have had barely enough room to walk upright. That's how low the monkey cages are in some of the inspiration pictures. So I'm hoping that this is still somewhat realistic. I did see taller cages, but yeah, not all of them, unfortunately, but that's the whole point of this series. I think this whole point of the series is a bit unfortunate to look at, but it's interesting, and it's like I said before, I haven't said it in a few of these now, but I think it's interesting to look back and see how much zoos have changed and what we still do, and also from a builder's perspective, it's interesting to see what structures and like what principles of build they're still using today, and also like how can we take an old building and maybe update it to house a different animal or the same animal, like what changes can we make without completely destroying it, which is something that you see in Europe a lot, that there's still these like very old zoos and they try to keep some of the history of the buildings but get animals that can actually live like a worthwhile life in them and not have a gorilla in a cage. So I know this is very much inspired by Amsterdam Zoo, who had their old monkey house turned into a bird house, which is something that we could do. But actually, I have so many ideas for what I want to do with this build. Like, I have a very specific idea, which I think is going to be so much fun. And so even if this doesn't turn out the way I wanted to, if this is not the strong point of my building skills today, but I'm excited for updating it. I know that there's something cool I can still do with it, so it's not, I don't want to say not worth it or, like waste of time or whatever, because it's not. I mean, I wanted to try this, and I do think that that this channel deserves to finally have monkeys. I think I only have ever built once for the orangutans. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because in none of my inspiration pictures, I really, really saw a lot of climbing structures. So they barely have any, which is something that we're doing right now on the screen. We're kind of working on some enrichment, which I would use that word very loosely because these things are empty. There's barely anything. Most of them just have a football, and the monkeys kind of climb across the bars of the cages, so they can't really do that because I disabled climbing for them, because that was a mess. And I think in this clip they should already be in, but some of them don't work right now because I had to swoop around some of the things. But you know what, we don't even do a tour, so there's no point in me telling you this, but when we do the tour, there will be all monkeys in, the interior will be done, and hopefully this is also a bit more situated in the surrounding areas. I know that in this clip it's really hard to tell, but it's kind of on the back side of the terrarium build, and it's kind of connecting up to the plaza behind the elephant house. So it's really coming together, and as much as I, been negative about this, I think that these are the essential builds for a zoo like that, and I have kind of put them off, and I thought that, after my break I was gonna be like, now I get to do this amazing thing that I've had planned all this time, but I think it probably would have been easier for me to kind of, push it to the side a bit and do easier stuff that, because this old-timey stuff is kind of harder to build than my regular building style, because it's just kind of more out there. You kind of take into consideration more pictures and stuff, so that's not something I usually do a lot. So I don't know, it wasn't the smartest thing to do right off the bat. That's also why I had other videos coming out in the meantime, and that's also why I'm kind of a bit in a time struggle right now, because this just wouldn't get done, and I knew that I wouldn't get done the interior, but I thought I was gonna be way happier and way faster with the exterior for this, and I'm not. So these tall buildings in this old style, they're really, really hard, at least for me, and I think I might have said it, or maybe I've just thought it. When I built the terrarium, I also thought that the interior was fun, but the exterior was so hard to achieve. And yeah, I don't know. These old pictures really they're so fun, but it's so hard to recreate. And I did take a little bit of creative liberty with these like pillars, and they're mainly only there because these clunkier pieces I used up top, they don't match up on the corners despite being gridded pieces. So that's kind of upsetting because they're gridded. They should add up on the edges, right? That's the whole point of using gridded pieces. Yeah, a lot of gridded pieces. By the way, I did get good use out of gridded pieces. Right now you can see me, I kind of decided that I wanted a side entrance to this house, which very confusing for those who try to find a round way, but that's not really my problem, you know? No, but I figured, you know, have this side entrance, get a bit better guest flow, you know? Yeah, this doesn't have a round way anyway, so I'm kind of thinking I kind of want to have a different habitat in between, because I'm very, very burned out with this monkey house already. You know, and it's nothing to do with me not liking monkeys, by the way. It's just that this is very hard to build. I wanted it to be concrete, and I, you know, like consciously decided against using brick again, but it's so hard to get concrete to not look like one, you know, flat surface. And then lastly, we are building these doors. I had a wonderful inspiration picture for the doors, and I hope I didn't close it yet, but I have a wonderful inspiration picture for the doors that I can put on screen in case I didn't close it. And I kind of wanted to create something like that. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time, or not the time. I didn't have the space on the actual building to have this like rounded stuff up top, but I did want it to have these kind of doors. I think they look like from the perfect time for some reason, like not a historian, but it looked right to me. So I kind of wanted those. I'm still not sure if I really actually like this like stained glass paneling kind of thing, like the squarey things. Not sure yet, but I don't think I'll change it because it's a struggle to change these kind of things when they're so like ingrained in other pieces, and it is fine. So yeah, that is fine, and I kind of took my time to put on some details on this, which I hope you appreciate, because I have a few hours off of work before I have to go back to work today, and I could have had food and I didn't, because I built doors instead just so I could show you something, because I didn't want to have it 2 days late. I also don't know if I'll have the time to be on point for Friday's video, so it's a little bit of a struggle, but I've said it before, I don't think I can really be very reliable with the dates now, but I can probably, hopefully, you know, at least get 2 videos out per week again, which that's more than enough for me after what a stressful time I'm having at the moment, which I haven't actually talked about yet, because this, again, didn't turn out too long. I was able to cut out a lot and sped up a lot, and there was a lot of repetitive stuff, so at some point, whenever there's the next voiceover that is going to be very, very long, I am just going to talk about a bit more in depth about why I'm struggling, which sounds so like my sigh didn't make it better, but it sounds so dramatic, and I don't want to be dramatic about it. It's just, you know, sometimes you have to kind of get your struggles spoken out, you know. But yeah, okay, because this doesn't have a tour, I'm now saying goodbye. There is a good chance that my voiceover doesn't exactly line up with the end of the video, but I still hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you're excited to, at some point, see the rest of this house, and I hope that, you know, waiting was worth it, but I just wanted to show you, even if, you know, it's just to show you that sometimes I'm not happy with it, and sometimes it doesn't come out in time, and there's nothing you can do about it, but it's still fine, and I'm still excited about it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and goodbye. This was not my usual outro. I don't really have one, but that felt wrong. Anyway, bye.